Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Starr Midday News. And coming up in the bulletin, minority in parliament demand an independent probe into the expired rice scandal as the NDC MPs their government officials to publicly consume the said rice.
The board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company must be sanctioned for allowing their storage facility to be used for this atrocious act. The Ministry of Education must be probed for their conduct in this despicable affair, not only for supervising this rot, but also their reported role as alleged by FDA officials.
Also in the bulletin, Electoral Commission of Ghana denies accusations of being biased in favor of the governing New Patriotic Party, insisting their processes have been very transparent.
If you understand our processes, you realize that anyone who jumps to that conclusion or jumps to that bandwagon is just being very mischievous.
Also ahead, former Minority Chief Whip and MP for Asawasi Muntaka Mubarak fears for the upcoming 9th Parliament following the acrimonious nature of the current 8th Parliament.
Regardless of who wins, regardless of the number that you may have, believe me, that house is going to be a very difficult one to manage. You have to require people who are really experienced on both sides.
And on the campaign trail, former President Kufuor joins governing NPP's campaign as he urges voters to vote Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on election day to revive the economy. Meanwhile, first-time voters have been sharing damning perceptions about political party manifestos. Details of these stories and many more coming up shortly. Stay tuned in. Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra with me, Na Didi Teti, to the details of our stories. Now we'll start off with developments coming from Parliament, specifically on the side of the NDC minority in Parliament. And now they are demanding an independent probe into the circumstances surrounding the feeding of free SHS students with expired rice. Now, government, through the Public Relations Office of the Education Ministry, Kwesi Kwarteng, has explained that the FDA granted approval for the expired rice to be rebagged with new expiry dates after MP for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, blew the whistle on the development. Now, addressing the media in Parliament, Mr. Ablakwa charged President Kufuor and Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia to take immediate action given the health implications for the students. The former Deputy Education Minister further charged the FDA to speak to the matter immediately, adding government officials should be publicly made to consume the food if they believe that the food is wholesome. Let's hear from Okudzeto Ablakwa, who addressed a press briefing a while ago in Parliament in relation to this particular issue that has been raging on for some days now.
Is the claim by the Education Ministry that the FDA extended the best before date from December 2023 to April 30, 2024 accurate? Is this true? The FDA must speak to this. If this claim is accurate, the claim that the FDA is now in the business of extending expiry dates, as Kwesi Kwatin of the Ministry of Education is claiming. If this claim is accurate, can the FDA explain to Ghanaians under what law and authority they extended the expiry date for laments, as claimed by the Education Ministry? Even if they claim that there was this strange extension, why not state it on the back so that as the headmasters are feeding our students with this food, they won't go beyond April? Don't forget we are now in November. Why did they not state it? Why did they conceal this? And headmasters and CHAS are also tolerating this. Why has the Ministry of Education failed to comply with recommendations from PIAC and the Auditor General on improving health and safety protocols on food distribution to our senior high schools? Why has the Akufo-Addo administration not sanctioned any official involved in this grave matter? Who are the shadowy government actors who ensured the release of officials of laments after their arrest? And who are the unpatriotic and dangerous government officials who put pressure on the FDA to change their position on this matter? The NDC caucus also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of the directors of Laments Investment Africa. The board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company must be sanctioned for allowing their storage facility to be used for this atrocious act and for operating unregistered storage facilities across the country. Such recklessness, which sacrifices the health of our students for corrupt transactions, must not go unpunished.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Notong, Samuel Okweto Ablakwa, addressing the media in Parliament in relation to this particular expired rice scandal. We're joined in the studio by our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Ibrahim Alassan, for more in relation to this. So, Ibrahim, what other specifics is Samuel Okweto Ablakwa asking for beyond the probe and the challenge to public officials to consume this rice in public?
Well, on the challenge, he mentions the education minister and his deputies and all government officials who have one thing or the other to do with this particular development to publicly consume the food. And this is hinged on the explanation that has been given by the spokesperson for the Ministry for Education, Kwesi Kwatin, that yes, indeed, the rice was expired. But then we had the FDA coming in to give approval, right, for the
rice to be
rebagged
and the expiry date extended. But that is quite questionable because the same FDA had fined this particular company in question for disposal of the rice. So where is the logic when the PRO says that the FDA gave them the go-ahead or the green light to repackage this rice and then extend the expiry date?
That's a good question. The other question, of course, when you talk asks about 20 questions, we're in the era of questions, right? Asks about 20 questions. One other aspect is this. FDA is not the manufacturer of this particular product.
Absolutely.
So on what basis is the FDA giving permission for the expiry date to be shifted forward? Now, Samuel Okweto Ablakwa is also asking that all the schools that took stock of this particular rice, students should be screened because there are reports, according to him, of food poisoning. It might not directly be linked to the consumption of this particular expired rice in question, but then again, until a thorough medical examination is done, that cannot be said conclusively. So he's asking for that to happen. And of course, generally, he's asking for an independent probe into this. He's asking for the dissolution of the board of the buffer stock company because he believes that the CEO and management, as well as the board members, are complicit in this. And then again, he's asking for prosecution of these suppliers who were initially arrested, but they were released.
Yes.
He's asking for them to be prosecuted.
All right. Thank you very much. Ibrahim Alassan is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. To some other stories still relating to Parliament and things happening there, and former Minority Chief Whip and MP for Sawase, Mutaka Mubarak, says he fears for the 9th Parliament according to the experience that is lawmaker, events in the current 8th Parliament sent worrying signals about the nature of the upcoming Parliament. He has criticized the current Parliament for failing to build consensus. He spoke to our head of political desk and Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Ibrahim Alasan. Have a listen.
I strongly believe that we could have avoided all this. I mean, I must say one of the most disappointing things for the 8th Parliament is what many of us thought would work that didn't work, which is trying to build more collaboration. I mean, try to know that you can't do it alone. So the government side will have to move away from the mentality of we are in charge and therefore we want to do as we please. And then the minority also know that, look, we are in a country where we've gotten to a point where you just don't have to pose anything, but you have to be firm with your belief and then try to also move to the middle. So that's we could have the best of parliament that history could have. But unfortunately, I don't know, the numbers, instead of it helping us to move to the middle, I don't know what's happened. It's now pushed both sides to the extreme end. And it's becoming like a tug of war, which is not good for our democracy at all. And sometimes I look at it and I feel very sad that either many of us who are in the chamber are not really studying what democracy is about and what democracy stands for. I mean, it's not the best of governance, but there's no better one for it than the democracy that we have. And in a democracy, apart from having election, one of the two other things that are really required in a democracy is strong institutions and then compromise. And when people talk about compromise, people think that it means sell out. No. You can never have a democracy without a compromise.
Well, Muntaka Mubarak believes that the 9th Parliament will need experienced legislators to ensure harmony in the House.
You should be able to sit and talk, give and take, move from your extreme end to the middle, the other side to move from its extreme end to the middle, with the belief that both of you mean well. So you mean well, you also have it in the back of your mind that your opponent also means well. So both of you, with this at the back of your mind, that both of you mean well. It's that you're looking at it from a different angle, so you can come to the middle. That's the only time that democracy will. Unfortunately, I've been in that house for 2 decades. And over the period, we came to meet our seniors. I mean, I remember during the President Kufuor era, we moved from an era where people would not even want to see an NDC MP and MPP MP eating or talking together, to where we have now, some may even have their best friends on the other side, and we build bridges over the period, and we thought that we were going to solidify the bridges so that our democracy will become an icon and an enviable one. Unfortunately, we've used the 8th Parliament, in my view, to break most of the bridges. And I don't know into the future, regardless of who wins, regardless of the number that you may have, believe me, that house is going to be a very difficult one to manage. You have to require people who are really, really, really experienced on both sides to be able to get that house back to a point where reasoning is the order of the day, instead of this extreme end. It's either my way or the highway.
You had the former minority chief whip and member of parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak, speaking to our head of political desk and parliamentary affairs correspondent Ibrahim Alasan. You're still listening to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. To some other stories now, and the Electoral Commission of Ghana has denied rumors of being biased in favor of the governing New Patriotic Party. Now, speaking in an exclusive interview with our sister station GH1 Television, Deputy Commissioner at the Electoral Commission in charge of corporate affairs, Bosman Asari, insisted that the processes have been transparent. Now, have a listen to what he has been saying.
If you understand our processes, you realize that anyone who jumps to that conclusion or jumps to that bandwagon is just being very mischievous or just pretending he or she doesn't understand the process. Because when you look at the processes, when we are registering, we do it with the parties. The parties are allowed agents at all the registration centers. When we finish the registration, the data from the registration is shared. We have what we call end of day, start of day report, and end of day report at each registration center. So before we start, the parties know how many people have been registered the day before. And when we end that day, we know the numbers. We give those same details to the parties. Everything we are doing, we do with the political parties. So anyone who makes that conclusion or makes that assertion that the EC is in bed with the government, then clearly the person has just decided not to understand the process. But when you engage your media friends and you, the media, you look at all the processes the EC deploys. Currently, printing of ballots a chunk has been completed and some few are ongoing. You ask the political parties at the printing houses, not almost all the printing houses, the parties have at least 2 agents there.
You had the Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission in charge of corporate affairs, Boss Manasari. He's also been explaining the EC's reasoning for the reprint of the ballots papers in Ahafo and Volta region. He is assured that the compromised ballot papers have all been destroyed, as indicated in their press release released yesterday.
When they are doing the printing, they do print the ballots, then later on they will add the serial numbers. And those serial numbers in all the printing houses, they are automatically generated. And in this particular printing house, they had a problem with the machine that would generate the serial numbers. So they were doing that manually for the 2 regions.
Right.
And the process was going on very well. So we thought they would be able to survey the situation to ensure that it will match up with the automatic generation. But along the line, our team noticed that there were still some gaps. And the commission took the decision that to enhance and to ensure ballot integrity, why not we give that particular printing to another printing house? So we decided, okay, let's give that particular job, which had to do with the Ahafo region presidential parliamentary and the Volta region presidential parliamentary. So the commission took the decision to give the Volta region to us Commercials Limited, then the Ahafo region to Bokpes. And when we did that, the plates they used in the printing, we decided to destroy them in the presence of the agents of the political parties, as well as personnel from the Ghana Police Service and the National Intelligence Bureau and other security agencies. So as we speak now, those plates that were used for the printing of the Ahafo presidential parliamentary, Volta region presidential parliamentary, they have been destroyed. And subsequently, we'll go ahead to also destroy the ballot papers that were printed from this printing house.
Right.
You had there the Deputy Commissioner, the Electoral Commission in charge of corporate services, Dr. Boss Manasari, speaking there to Lantam Papako earlier on GH Today. This is the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Away from these stories, let's talk about labor agitations. And the Teachers and Education Workers Union, TEWU, of the Trade Union Congress has begun a nationwide strike today, Monday, November 18, to protest the government's failure to address long-standing concerns over their conditions of service. The union, representing workers across key institutions such as the Ghana Education Service, the Ghana Library Authority, the Museums and Monuments Board, and the public technical and traditional universities, has expressed frustration over stalled negotiations despite years of dialogue with no final agreement being reached. Meanwhile, the National Labour Commission has scheduled a meeting with TEWU and other stakeholders for Wednesday, November 20, to mediate and find a lasting solution to the impasse. Here is General Secretary of TEWU, King James Azotiba, who's been speaking to us at the station G1 Television.
Under discriminated or unduly frustrated, then we have no cause than to believe that there's no good faith in whatever correspondence that we are receiving. We realize that it is less for any money to come and negotiate with us. Our reason being that they asked us that we should call off the strike before we begin the talk. We were also of the view that this is just the rules of engagement we are trying to draw on. And if we have good faith and you have called us to come and sit on the roof of engagement, which is not the negotiation itself, and strike action that we have taken time to plan, you cannot just take 1 minute and tell us that all is off. Because we have process. Our dealings with fair wages and the Labour Commission has been one of the most excellent. We call on strike, and immediately we bring us a letter and we call on that strike. From 2022 to date, this has been the old thing, and the old dog is used those old things.
You say that you have a very good standing relationship with the Labour Commission, which is the arbitrator here. What has been the pushing of the Labour Commission?
But the Labour Commission has invited us for a meeting on Wednesday,
Okay.
and we are preparing for that meeting.
Okay.
But before their meeting, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has quickly written to us to have a sit down on the rules of engagement for only the Ghana Education Service. Leaving, they have money for only Ghana Education Service. And we went for that meeting this morning. Unfortunately, we realized that the chief executive officer was not there. And anytime we have a meeting with them without the chief executive officer, it ends up that they do not have the mandate. They have to go back to conference.
You heard the General Secretary Tewu King James Azotiba. It's still the Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Shortly, we'll bring you the very latest in the world of sports. But let's talk about Ghana's economy. Director General for the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, John Bwedu, says it's a shame that the value of Ghana's economy is worth pittance compared to some tech firms in developed countries. John Bwedu laments that with all the country's resources, Ghana's total GDP, which stands at $75 billion, comes nowhere close to annual revenues of some individual companies. He made the assertions while he was speaking at the Meeting International Conference on African Mindset Transformation and Systems Thinking Conference, where he called for a total paradigm shift. Our colleague Ivan Heathcote Fumado has more in the following report.
First International Conference on Africa Mindset Transformation and System Thinking brings together transformative leaders who demonstrated successes in academia, industry, institutional and state governance. The conference envisions to reposition and maximize Africa's growth potential by identifying opportunities to reform citizenship and leadership thinking across corporate and public institutions. Addressing the conference, Director General for the State Interest and Governance Authority, John Bwedu, lamented how Ghana has for several years failed to maximize its abundant resources, ranking its GDP less than what a single tech firm could make in a year.
If you look at all the resources that we have, you can talk about gold, cocoa, bauxite, manganese, timber, oil, non-traditional exports like rubber, pineapple, cashew, and all put together, total productivity, our GDP, is just $75 billion, which is less than the total value of an app. The Uber app is $145 billion. If you take Microsoft, revenue, which is less than the total value of an app, the Uber app, is $145 billion. If you take Microsoft, revenue generated by this is a company, it's an entity, is $204.2 billion. In terms of value, it's close to $2 trillion. Is it not a shame for a country with massive resources that at a point we only needed $4 billion for us not to go back to IMF?
Sharing his views about the seeming retardation of Africa's development in the League of Nations, board chair of AESL and senior lecturer with the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Kwame Asamoah, who chaired the event, pointed to failing system in Africa which accommodates incompetence and lawlessness.
Including economic, social, political, cultural, lack of patriotism, unwillingness to sacrifice for nation, political corruption and discipline at all levels. If Africa wants to transform this continent to be like the developed world, then there is a need for mindset renewal in terms of how we conduct our affairs in all aspects of our life.
And that report was filed by our colleague Ivan Heathcote Fumado with Ultimate FM. We'll bring you the full report subsequently on Star today. Let's now turn our attention to sports, and it's been a while I had her here. Monica Bukari is here. Lady in green looks like a matching. Good afternoon to you, Monica.
Good afternoon, Nade.
What's in sports?
Well, Nade, interesting things are happening in sports. Now, Black Stars head coach Tutuado is urging Ghanaians to rally behind the national team as they aim to secure a spot in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This call for support follows the team's failure to qualify for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON after a 1-1 draw with Angola last Friday. Now, speaking in a press conference yesterday, Otuado says we should put the AFCON failure behind us and support the team to qualify for the World Cup.
The base in these qualifiers are the winners, and I wish we would have played bad, but won anyhow. But to be honest, we played well, but we're lacking scoring goals. And I think it's a complex thing. It's maybe more psychological. Surely there was a lot of hatred coming from outside against me, against the team, and yeah, I can just ensure you that I think in all, sometimes affect the players, and we need support. That's all. If all of you want Ghana to win, you're very down now. If you don't want us to go to the World Cup, then you can continue and then you can hammer on us. Okay? But if you really want us to go to the World Cup, you need support. That's all I can say.
Tuado also slammed critics for calling for his dismissal as Black Stars head coach after AFCON qualifier collapse.
I don't like to speak about myself like I'm the best or whatsoever. This is not my nature, People can judge me, and surely most of the people will judge me by the results, which were not good. But I have friends, I have mentors, I don't know if you know, but I trained under Matthias Sama. I was trained under Klopp. I was trained, I was assistant to Intelligence, was the Dortmund head coach, and surely we exchange. And for me, this is relevant. If they say this or that, and they're also critical of some things, and I understand this, but this has much more value if I speak to your club and it says this or that. If I send you maybe some things, then somebody from anywhere saying, oh, blah, 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 this is bad. So I try to get better every day, but I can assure you that I also question some games, but to be honest, like I said, especially the home games, we played well, but we didn't score, and this was a missing point. It's very, very difficult at national level because you don't just have 3 days. Now we have 2 days of training, and then to play again, and to get things together, get things done. And sometimes in football you can do everything right. If you don't score, you lose. It's like that. And sometimes you play bad, you win. Sometimes you play good, you lose. It's like that, and I have to accept it.
Now, away from the Black Stars, Hearts-of-Oak climbed into the top 4 of the Ghana Premier League with a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Karela United at the Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium in Tamale. Let's take a listen to the head coach of the Accra Hearts-of-Oak, Abubakar Ouattara.
The thing I'm telling the first every time, everywhere I go, I tell them, say, this game we are playing for them. If the fans are happy, we are happy. And we need them to come for the next game, to come in numbers, to encourage the team. Not only on the Facebook, on the social media, but come on numbers in the stadium, follow these boys, encourage them. You see, today we have the students who come to support us as fans. We need them to our game at home to come. We want to make a record to win another game. We need it to win every match. As a folk, it's like that. We win, you lost the problem. We don't wait to get the problem before it's coming. We need to come and follow to help this young team to go far.
And that does it for sports. My name is Monica Bukaibana. I'll be looking forward to see you later this afternoon as we all go to support the Black Stars.
Which Black Stars?
The Black Stars of Ghana.
Monica, don't tempt me.
On we go for the World Cup.
You are supporting them alone. I admire your positivity when it comes to the support of the Black Stars. Unfortunately, I don't share in it.
I know.
Yeah,
because I know we are all going through it. We are going through it.
I am not going through it.
You're not going through it because you've never supported them.
No, not that I haven't supported them. I'm not going through it because I think that you cannot reap what you haven't sown. True. It is what it is. I mean, it's high time people stop wearing white kaftans and just dancing to you know.
Anyway, the
Just-
spirit is down. You can see myself. I'm not in a Black Star jersey today. That the spirit is kind of down, but we have no option. It's the only Black Stars we have, so we should support them.
Continue. I'm not doing it. Thank you very much, Monica Bukari, bringing us the very latest in the world of sports. Effectively, it is time to hit the campaign trail. It's exactly some 33 minutes past the hour 12. This is a campaign trail on Star 103.5 FM on the Starr Midday News, where we catch up with the various contenders as we head to the polls. In exactly 19 days, Ghanaians will be going to the polls to elect a president for the next 4 years, as well as members of parliament. Today we are starting from the camp of the governing New Patriotic Party. They are marshalling all their arsenals to ensure that the party does the unprecedented, which is to break the 8. Yesterday, one of the means through which they are seeking to marshal the people, their core support base, to vote for the party, especially at a time where there are reports indicating high apathy in its stronghold. Former president and former President John Ejekunkufo, who is also a key member of the governing New Patriotic Party, he has lent a hand to the campaign trail of the NPP. The former president has urged electorates to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is the flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party. He said a vote for Bawumia will ensure a revival of the economy.
Copy Mren Chapi, the uncle for graphics menu Shabakubi. Don't know Bomba Genesupa. And in say me, my can't go for the antias. With many attitude never pay me, this is a Sakolana. On your Nipa. Jana, you can't share Navy as in your corner. Addition inside. Nyamishiraka ho Obabua Magana Sansorita.
You had the former President John Ejekunkufo. Still with the camp of the governing New Patriotic Party, it's Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Siakon, popularly known as Chairman Wuntimi. Now, he's been talking as well. According to him, the current depreciation of the city can be attributed to the former president, John Dramani Mahama, who is also the flag bearer of the NDC. Now, he also says that about 35 of the hospitals which were promised under the 111 under the Agenda 111 project will soon be completed.
What the Ghanaians know, look at the ambulances that you are enjoying. Okay? Look at Agenda 111.
How many of them have you completed?
Oh, about 30 to 35.
Where are they?
Where are they? You can search. You are a journalist. Google now. Google.
Okay, so just tell me, you've been leading this campaign.
Now,
so just tell me.
If you go to Achumakwa one, yes, we are completing.
So they are not completed.
Agenda 111. I said that it's 111, and we are going to complete about 30 to 35.
So you
this
haven't completed
year,
it.
We have completed some.
You heard there the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the governing New Patriotic Party, Bernard Eshibwe-Siako, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi, speaking there to say, well, I'm here. Well, some of you have been reacting to this on social media. I've been joined in the studio by Nanama Aqua for some of those reactions. Nanama, what are people saying?
Well, I'm going to stick with Instagram this afternoon because the comments are so many. Now, Reginald said it's a very sad moment to be NPP right now. Like how can your whole regional chairman be this? We have Rieb who says we were promised a year ago. Then they said June. Now we have completed some, but the loans for it cannot be found too. Ghanaians, be wise. Then Rich says, but even the 30 to 35 should think it's small self. He's even lying. Chai, everybody is using Ghana to take care of his family. Prince says, but for the love of money, people will still vote for leaders who only care about their family. Oui. Then Ando says, Ghanaians, open your eyes and vote the NDC to power. Vugati says, I'm an MPP, but now I give up. Congratulations to JM. Gaza says they are asking their whereabouts and you are telling her to search for it. Chemo. Then last couple of comments. Supreme Lady says, oh Lord, to some extent, this man keeps painting Ashanti region with different colors. Abisco says, wait. Then Nidro more. What happens to the rest? Who go finish him? Then our last comment, D. Osei says, the moment she asked, where are they? And he repeated the same question, I knew he was going to lie. Agenda 111, where are you? My name is Nanama Aqua. Back over to you.
Thank you very much, Anama, bringing us those reactions on social media in connection with the Agenda 111 project. Let's now head to the camp of the NDC. So in the camp of the NPP, the vice president and flag bearer is still in the Ashanti region. We understand seeking to consolidate their gains there and convince as many people in the party stronghold to vote for it. Let's now go to the camp of the NDC. Its flag bearer John Dramani Mahama has begun his campaign of the Eastern region today. Hanan Abdul Adam is a man on the beat and he joins us over the telephone line. So Hanan, where exactly is a team now and what has the former president and flag bearer of the NDC been up to?
Well, now this will be the 40th region that the former president, as part of his Mahama for Change campaign, is visiting. And he kicked off from the Tawama Dojo constituency before proceeding to Teacher Mante in the Ayensano constituency where we are currently. Addressing the electorate, encouraging them to vote for the NDC to correct the mistakes that they've done in 2016 and 2020. He promised that one being a center in 3 regions needs a modern market, and promised that under market enhancement program, the NDC would revamp and re-establish the Insawam market to make it more vibrant for trading activities to continue. It also emphasized the need for more infrastructure works to go on, including roads and hospitals, amongst others. Education has been one of the key priorities that he's been mentioning. And so from here, we'll move to the new Jabi constituency, which is in the Koforidua, or the Eastern Regional Capital of Koforidua, where he will continue to outline his vision and policy to become the next president of Ghana, NDD.
And what has generally been the reaction of the people to the former president?
Well, the reception has been great, even though the constituency is being held by the current majority whip in Parliament. But then the euphoria there has been great, especially looking at where the campaign has been held. It's within the market or within the Insawam market. So the traders came to listen to the message of the former president. The chiefs were there as well. But the chiefs had a lot of concerns to raise, which has to do with one, education, which has to do with health, and including unemployment in the area. Because some of them made the point that since the rail line collapsed, a lot of job opportunities have been lost. So it makes it so difficult for them. The traders are very much concerned about transportation because they used to rely on the train to, commute from Sawam to Accra to go and carry their goods back to the market to sell. But currently, they have to bear with the brunt of the construction that is happening along the Sawam Accra stretch, which is causing them a lot of inconvenience. So they say that road is one other thing that we want any government who would win the 2024 general election to look into for them to have a good living in the area.
Thank you very much. Abdul Hanan Adam is our man on the ground monitoring the campaign of the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. This is still campaign trail on the Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. So we have heard from the contenders, some of the contenders. Let's now also hear from the elections arbiter, the Electoral Commission of Ghana. According to the commission, it has deployed robust systems to ensure a free and fair election. Dr. Bosman Asare is a deputy commissioner at the Electoral Commission.
Strengthen our system has to do with employment of collation officers at all the three levels of the collation, at the constituency level, at the regional level, especially, and national. So when you look at it from that perspective, we've doubled down on all the good measures we did we adopted in 2020, and we believe that in this good environment, unlike in 2020 when we had COVID and a lot of publicity about processes have been done, we think that will go down as these elections will go down as one of the best. The party, the explanation, the people of Ghana understand. Recently there were these allegations that, the register had issues, etc. Yes. We came out publicly. The people got to know that indeed what always the EC has always been saying is right. So we believe that with all this undergirding these elections, it will go a long way to be one of the best.
You had there the Electoral Commission Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Bosman Asare, very confident that this election will go down as one of the best for the country. On that note, we end today's edition of the Campaign Trail here on Starr 103.5 FM on the Starr Midday News. We'll come your way again tomorrow with another edition monitoring the key contenders as they crisscross the country in a bid to canvass for votes and consolidate their gains and also appeal to the floating voters. My name is Nadidi Teti. Thank you very much for your company. Have a good afternoon.